There are people who watched your struggle and assumed it was your ending. They saw you in the fire and expected you to burn. They whispered behind your back, betting on your downfall, thinking, there's no way they'll survive this. But chosen one, God had other plans. If you've ever felt like you were under pressure, like life was trying to crush you from every angle, understand this, that pressure was never meant to destroy you. It was designed to reveal you. What others mistook for your breaking point was actually your breakthrough. In today's message, we're going deep into the truth that many need to hear right now. You didn't break, you were being built. Let's unpack why the battle was necessary and why your victory is inevitable. You were built. Different people often judge you by what they see on the outside. They don't see the prayers you whispered in the dark, the tears you cried when no one was watching, or the inner battles you conquered just to make it through the day. But let's get one thing clear. You're not like the rest. You were built differently. God created you with a specific blueprint in mind. You weren't made for comfort. You were designed for conquest. And every trial you faced was tailor-made to sharpen your gifts, deepen your faith, and strengthen your spirit. The people who doubted you never understood your anointing. They mistook your silence for weakness, your humility for insecurity, and your endurance for surrender. But you didn't come this far by accident. Your spirit was forged in adversity, and your strength was birthed in silence. That's why you're still standing. Even after everything that tried to break you, you were built different because your assignment is different, and God never puts diamond-level pressure on glass people. The setback was a setup. What looked like the worst moment of your life was actually the turning point. That layoff, that heartbreak, that betrayal, it felt like everything was falling apart. But from heaven's view, it was all falling into place. Chosen ones often experience what feels like divine delays and painful rejections. But here's the truth. God doesn't operate on comfort. He operates on calling. Sometimes he removes you from situations that no longer serve your purpose. He lets things fall apart so you won't stay stuck in places you've outgrown. That setback that had people whispering, they'll never bounce back from this, it was just a setup for elevation, for alignment, for divine promotion. God allowed the detour so you could discover your destiny. And when the doors opened again, bigger, better, and bolder, the same people who counted you out won't be able to deny what God has done in your life. Your delay was never denial, it was divine strategy. The pain had a purpose. Let's be honest, you've cried some heavy tears. You've asked God, why me? More times than you can count. But what you didn't realize in the moment is that every ounce of pain was part of the preparation. Pain doesn't mean God has forgotten you. In fact, it's often the evidence that he's working on you. God uses pain to birth purpose. He allows certain experiences to humble you, to grow you, and to strip away what can't go with you into the next season. That heartbreak refined your boundaries. That rejection built your self-worth. That dark season taught you how to pray, how to discern, how to fight. The pain made you dangerous in the best way. You didn't just survive what tried to break you, you transformed because of it. And now you don't walk like someone who's fragile. You walk like someone who's forged. So when they ask you, how are you still standing? You'll simply say, because my pain had a purpose, and God wasn't finished with me yet. God used isolation to elevate. Have you noticed how God will sometimes pull you away from everything and everyone? Out of nowhere, the calls stop. The invites dry up. People distance themselves. And you're left wondering, did I do something wrong? No, chosen one, you didn't do anything wrong. God just had to remove the noise so you could hear him. Isolation isn't punishment, it's preparation. When God is about to elevate you, he puts you in a season of solitude. Why? Because elevation requires clarity, and clarity comes in silence. In isolation, you discovered your true identity. You learned to hear God's voice louder than opinions. You started recognizing toxic patterns and unhealthy attachments. That quiet season was a spiritual boot camp. It was the space where God equipped you, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for what's coming next. You didn't break, you evolved. They expected you to crumble, to lose yourself, to walk away from your calling. But instead of collapsing, you changed. This is what they don't tell you about breaking points. Sometimes they're actually becoming points. Yes, you were wounded, but you didn't give up. You were weary, but you still showed up. And that tenacity, that quiet resilience, that's proof you evolved. You learned how to protect your peace, guard your energy, and stop explaining your worth to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped seeking closure and started creating healing. You no longer move from pain, you move from purpose. And that shift, it's spiritual maturity. Now you understand that some chapters had to end the way they did. Some people had to leave, some doors had to close, not because you weren't good enough, but because you were evolving, and God needed to release you from what was holding you back. The old you would have broken. The new you? You're unstoppable. The ones who counted you out are watching in silence. They laughed behind closed doors. They gossiped about your failures. They expected to see you fall and stay down. But here's the plot twist. You didn't just get up, you leveled up. And now the same ones who counted you out are watching in silence, watching as you rise, watching as God restores, promotes, and blesses you beyond what anyone imagined. God will often allow your enemies to witness your elevation, not out of spite, but as a divine reminder that He is the one who writes your story. You don't have to clap back. You don't have to prove a point. Your life will be your response. Because when God prepares a table for you, it's often in front of those who never believed you deserved a seat. And as they watch in silence, unable to deny the favor on your life, just remember, you didn't rise to prove them wrong. You rose because you were called. Let them watch. God turned the test into a testimony. Every chosen one goes through a wilderness, a place where everything is stripped away, and you're left with nothing but faith. That season tested your patience, your identity, your hope. But even when you didn't understand what God was doing, you kept walking. And now, that test has become your testimony. You have stories of survival that you never thought you'd tell. You've experienced healing you didn't believe was possible. You've seen prayers answered in ways that left you speechless. You didn't just endure the storm, you emerged from it transformed. And that testimony, it's not just for you, it's for the people you're called to reach. The ones who are going through what you went through, the ones who think they won't make it. Your scars speak. They tell the world, I've been through hell, but I didn't stay there. God is using your past to empower your future. Every tear, every heartbreak, every sleepless night, it's all part of the testimony that's going to set others free. And when you speak, you won't be speaking from theory, you'll be speaking from victory. You're rising on the same grounds where you fell. Here's what they never expected, that you'd rise again on the same soil where you were buried, that the very place of your heartbreak would become holy ground, that the pit would become the platform. But that's exactly how God moves. He doesn't always take you to new ground. Sometimes He restores you on the old one, just to show that what the enemy meant for evil, He can still turn for good. Yes, you were knocked down in that relationship, in that job, in that betrayal. Yes, you faced shame and loss and humiliation. But watch this, you're rising again, and not somewhere far away, right there in that same space. Because God's redemption isn't about escape, it's about restoration. The same people who watched you fall will now see you fly. The same ones who left you at your lowest won't be able to reach you at your highest. And the same place that once held your pain will now house your purpose. You're not just surviving, you're rewriting the narrative. You're flipping the script. And now every stone they threw is becoming part of the foundation beneath your feet. What broke others built you, and what buried others is where you're blooming. They thought you'd break, but instead of shattering, you shifted. Instead of sinking, you soared. And now everything they used to define your failure is about to become the backdrop of your breakthrough.